A recent article in USA Today asks the question, are students today more narcissistic? The question was asked of the students themselves in a poll on social networking sites by YPulse. Over half, 57%, said that social networking sites, MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, were used mainly for self-promotion, narcissism, attention-seeking, and 2/3 of the respondents said their generation was more self-promoting, narcissistic, overconfident, and attention-seeking than other groups. The extraordinary aspect of these findings is that the students have the self-awareness to see this about themselves and their generation as a whole. They must wonder what has caused this trend. Aside from the social networking sites they use on a daily basis, and I think 92% are on Facebook on any given day. As an educator for 30 years who taught over 1,000 students of Generation Y, I can offer a few reasons for it. The problem is not in the students themselves, but in the ways in which we raise them, the ways in which we educate them. There are other factors too, which I will mention later in this YouTube report. When I began teaching in 1979, I noticed an emphasis in promoting self-esteem in school policies, in curriculum, sports, and other extracurricular activities. This in and of itself was a very good thing, but in practice it began to show an erosion of the values of merit-based evaluation, striving for excellence, and the simple values of diligence and hard work. Grade inflation was also a result, a relaxing of standards, a reduction of the number of required courses that virtually eliminated at least some exposure to a wide range of academic disciplines. On college campuses, I saw a virtual cafeteria selection of courses offered to the students. They could pick and choose as they wished. More or less as they did in the cafeteria. Just as their food choices evinced a lack of balance and nutrition, so did their selection of courses show a lack of balance of academic disciplines. A choice of a cup of coffee and a donut for lunch had its counterpart in a choice for coaching skills and pottery classes in their academic program. There's nothing wrong with these courses. A small number of them is okay in a 4-year program. It makes sense even. But when a college graduate, when a college student has virtually no background in math or science at the point of the graduation ceremony, then they have been ill-served by the academic policies of their college or university. Students are not ready to make every single choice for what amounts to a well-rounded college education. Some of those choices should be made for them by experienced scholars, administrators, and school officials. The same could be said of high schools, but it would be even more important to guide their choices in the cafeteria. Through the 1980s, I noticed that there were fewer and fewer awards for academic excellence or excellence in any other sphere of activity. The argument was made that awarding excellence for one student's achievement would necessarily diminish the achievement of the other students, and the effect of this would be to lower the self-esteem of the other students. This is simply not the case. In my experience, the other students invariably know who has achieved a superior level of accomplishment in any given academic discipline or any athletic or extracurricular activity either. About 10 years ago, a group of elementary school children were invited to participate in a pumpkin carving contest at their school. Objections were raised by some parents and teachers who said that awarding a first, second, and third prize would be a negative influence on the other children's self-esteem. As a result, every child was awarded a prize. Money has a role to play in all this, as it does in almost everything to do with raising or educating children. Students at schools, colleges, and universities are encouraged to see themselves as customers and the teachers as service providers or salespeople. The educational institutions are seen as businesses. marketing, advertising, and generally promoting themselves for maximum enrollment and therefore profits. This unfortunate trend has imbued the students with a sense of importance and value that does not serve them. Should the students be encouraged to see themselves as a valued customer, or students with the privilege of an or the students with the privilege of an opportunity for a quality education? Before World War II, less than 35% of all high school graduates went to college. Now it is well over twice that percentage. The young people who grew up before World War II and even through the 1950s had very little money to spend or discretionary purchases. But some earned a small allowance. Others worked after school, but most of the money was either saved, contributed to the family bank account, or spent on a few treats and pleasures. By the 1960s, the amounts of money at young people's disposal grew and grew. One only needs to look at the expansion of the music industry to see the result. Sales of records, tapes, CDs, and now MP3 players and iPods show the power of young people as consumers in our society. Their attitudes towards earning money, becoming rich, and having all the attendant rewards of fame and popularity that go with it have been profoundly effective. Everywhere a young person looks today, they see people achieving instant fame and huge fortunes. What they do not see enough of is the talent, effort, or achievement that earns fame and fortune, much less an admirable reputation. Reality shows, game shows, the internet, Facebook, TV, and movies all contribute to distorted perceptions of what it means to be a success in our society. When an heiress trades on her name to sell perfume, or a White House party crasher gets their own reality show, they see a shortcut to wealth and fame. The fix is in. The system is rigged. Just come up with the next big thing. Make a splash by dating a movie star. Or better yet, send your 5-year-old up in a weather balloon. And fame and fortune are yours for the asking. Good Morning America is calling. They want an interview. The Today Show's calling. They want an interview. Watch how young people are portrayed in films and television. The kids are the smart ones. Adults are neurotic idiots. The Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park all bear this out. In the film Juno, the 16-year-old who becomes pregnant is mature, cool, unnaturally self-possessed, and the only one who can really cope with the situation. Commercials are filled with babies telling off adults. One commercial for a financial firm has a baby telling his or her father he is an idiot for buying a lottery ticket. In a recent series of BMW commercials, children are telling their parents to buy a late model BMW because they expect to inherit the car someday in the future. In countless other ads, young children, 5, 6, or 7, are telling us to go to their father's banks, furniture stores, and their car dealerships. The influence of seeing investment bankers receiving huge salaries and bonuses, even when their firms receive government bailouts, contribute to the idea of fast money, shortcuts, and talentless achievement. It also confuses them about ethics, but that is another story. People who make large fortunes without creating anything of real value are not good role models for our young people. Even people with vastly different political views can agree with that. But the real issue is, how did our young people come to see themselves as largely narcissistic, self-promoting, and overconfident? They did not do this to themselves. We did it. The older generations of teachers, parents, politicians, and leaders in every part of our society and culture. What will it take to turn this around? The thought is overwhelming. Nothing less than a seismic shift in the trends of our society and culture can accomplish it. But it begins with one child at a time, and the determination and resolve of all who have an important role in raising and educating that child.